Hi, I'm Natasha Lockhart. Welcome to Studio Chatter. Today we'll be talking about how to prepare for hospice care.
I'm Stacy Beck. We'll also talk to a couple of ladies that work hard to preserve our past.
I'm Angie Murphy. As you know, we like the bling. We'll have a look at a jewelry collection.
And we'll get an update on our local health department. All this and more on Studio Chatter. Welcome to Studio Chatter. What's going on in your worlds?
In our worlds.
I don't know.
How's your
Oh,
world?
come on, there's lots.
Oh my
Geez, we
goodness.
didn't prep. What have we been doing?
What have I been doing? I feel like I've had a lot of birthdays.
Okay.
Me too.
Have you? Like, we've had back-to-back birthdays.
Yes.
Grandkids are going back to school.
Yes.
Bo started UVU this week.
Oh,
But
okay.
he's in Texas selling, but he's doing online.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait,
So-
what?
Right? I know,
Okay.
crazy. So he's out selling, and then at night he's doing that, or in
Good
the
for
morning.
him.
And his car broke
Wow.
down there, so we've been trying to figure out that.
Oh, that's.
He's old. He's been an oldie and a goodie, so he may be staying in Texas.
Wow.
You mean the car's been an
The
oldie
car.
and a goodie?
Yeah.
Not Bo. I'm like, he's not that old. He's like,
Yeah, his car's name is Benny, and it was McKinsey's, and now it's been Bo's.
Oh.
And
Oh.
yeah, but
Okay.
he may, be in Texas for forever. So we'll
Okay.
see. But yeah, we've been busy, but it's been good. Just good stuff.
good.
Okay.
But yeah, busy stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
What
been
about
a
you?
couple, like this week, you guys, I only have one thing at night. This.
That's
Wow.
so nice. I appreciate
I
those
do not
weeks.
remember the last time I had a week.
That's rare for you.
And don't you
it's so
feel
rare.
kind of anxious when it's like that?
Oh my gosh, no. Like, I'm just like, last night I went and got in my hammock and read, and I was out there with my phone and my light and my book. I'm just swinging in the hammock. I'm just like,
I do
I'm so
love it, but I
happy.
always worry, what have I got? What's coming? Talking about hammocks, okay, we've had this mama hummingbird that laid eggs in her nest,
okay.
right? The baby bird's hatched. It's been these two cute little hummingbirds. At first we just saw little beaks poking out, and they grew so fast, and then Rhett has been enthralled in it. So he read that they leave the nest in 2 to 3 weeks. So every day he's just out there with his spotting scope and binoculars. He fed them. We bought a bird feeder. And then yesterday I come home and I couldn't see Rhett anywhere. And I went outside and he's sitting on the back porch, sad. The birds left the nest.
did they really?
Yes, they're gone.
Only after 2
Just
weeks.
like that. Yep.
Wow.
I have seen a lot of hummingbirds around. Is this their time of year, Ange, to
Yeah,
lay eggs
they
and
must be.
leave?
I think in July it said that it
Oh,
was.
okay.
And they don't
Interesting.
stick around. They actually leave the
Yeah.
nest.
Well, we've seen them flying around and eating, but they are not back at the nest. Now they're
Okay.
nesting in the trees.
Oh my
crazy
goodness,
time.
that is so fun. Well, mine have left the nest, so
Yes.
to speak. So they're back in school. We're back on schedule. So I love the structure. So that's super awesome. Yeah, it was weird that it started midweek, but
Yeah.
I like
we're-
that.
Yeah. So now we're back in full swing. It feels like fall. It really feels
It
like
does,
fall now
doesn't
because
it?
they're going to school, and I have one at middle school, and I have one at elementary.
How is
and
Bera adjusting to middle school?
Loves it.
I'm sure.
She's very social. I hope that she's there to do the work. So
I don't think that's why I went.
No,
I don't
not
think-
at first.
not
No,
everybody
never.
does, yeah.
Her locker, did she get it all jazzed up?
Yep, she got it all jazzed up, and
Good.
she's not had any trouble opening. And she actually has 2 lockers because I guess they have a PE locker as
Yes.
well. So she's like, the PE locker is much easier to open. But yeah,
Do you guys
she's-
ever have dreams that you go to your locker and you can't remember your combination because it's been so long?
Yes, or you can't find it too.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, I think I've missed 6
wandering.
months. I don't even remember
My
my.
combination was 48, 12, 30.
You're not even serious.
I am serious because that was the way I remembered it. In 48 hours, it will be 12:30. So I impressed upon her kind of the same thing, how to remember hers with very specific numbers. So that's kind of my
true
weirdness.
professional you are, Natasha.
Oh my goodness.
I just recall numbers.
What about your
so-
home phone number when you were a little girl?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay, me too.
801-375-376.
Yep.
376?
Uh-huh.
You're missing a number.
375-5376.
Okay.
Sorry.
And we had the
Phrases.
we all had the 801 area code.
Uh-huh.
So it was 801-623-1033.
Yeah.
But
And
But
the,
we
have
didn't
it.
need to know the 801 back in the
No.
day.
no, we didn't.
More impressive, 755-172-0832-2215. That was my dad's calling card number. So when I had to make a collect call, That was the number that I had to remember.
Stop it.
Oh my heck!
Calling
I'm so
cards.
impressed.
Wow,
right?
that brings you back. Totally.
Or how about a collect call? How weird is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I lived in Pleasant Grove for 1 year of high school, and I was dating Chris at the time. So he was in Spanish Fork, I was in Pleasant Grove, long distance. So we had to pay to talk, or I could drive into Linden to a little grocery store and get on the pay phone and talk.
Stop. It was a paid phone call for that?
Yeah, I had to go to the pay phone and talk.
I mean, like,
but it was cheaper.
It was long. Okay.
No, because then at the payphone it was not long
Okay,
distance.
it was not
just a
long
quarter.
distance.
Well, do
Oh
you
my
remember
goodness.
then when it went up to like 35 cents, and so it wasn't convenient anymore to have the quarter, and you had to
Yeah.
put in the extra dime to
Quarter
make the
and a
phone
dime.
call. I remember that because we had to make the phone call from the swimming pool if we wanted to be picked up. But we were always scrounging around for that extra
Waiting
10
for
cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to our old gas station growing up in high school, and now the payphone is gone. It had stayed there for a long time, just kind of empty and hollow, and now it's gone.
gone.
Oh,
No more.
Oh, do you
Kinda
guys want to hear
sad.
an interesting statistic I read in
Yes.
the news
Yes.
this morning? I'll tell you, and then you can tell me what you think.
Okay.
54% of Americans would rather have their smartphone taken away for 1 year than have their browser history publicly displayed.
wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
I
Which
think
says
I'm
no.
opposite.
Wait, yeah, me too. Wait, but-
54%.
So that
of
means that
people-
what they're
What they're
searching for is
searching for.
really intimidating
Well,
or
and-
insecure about.
Yeah.
Well, they say
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
the window. It is the window to
soul.
your soul. Yeah.
But give up your
Mine
smartphone
would
for
say
a year?
Amazon, Amazon, Amazon.
Well,
I don't really
Not
want to
it,
call out
not
any
it.
genders, but what exactly are they?
I started, like, I just read those statistics, and I just thought of this today. I'm like, there is no way. I need to make sure that
So
that's,
that's
really.
half of our world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And they said, they're obviously
Kind of sad.
keeping certain things, but a lot of it, besides the obvious one that
Right,
people
yeah,
are
that
looking
one.
at, is also the amount of time they're on social media. Another really popular one is finding people that you know or just meet, like tracking them down, Googling them, seeing what their lifestyle is about, or
So they wouldn't want that out there, like that I'm.
yeah, or even just like, does
Tracking
that
them.
make me look weird? Like if
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is a new employee, I'm gonna
Oh,
like
maybe.
look into them or something.
Right.
Women compare a lot more, it said, or
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
find that to
I
be
could see
true.
that.
and a lot of people look at all their health issues.
Yeah,
WebMD.
I can see
I
that.
just thought that
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Yeah, they're
My
like,
husband always
But
calls me
I'd much
Dr.
rather have my
Natasha, yes.
phone. I'd much rather have that
Me
convenience.
too.
than
Amen.
that.
Yes.
I'm kind of an open book right now with my IG a day, so.
there you go.
There you
Yeah.
go. Next on Studio Chatter, we'll talk about preserving our past. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. Utah has a very interesting past, and the job of preserving that history is what the Daughters of the Utah Pioneers do best. Let's welcome Margaret Creer and Darla Butler to the table. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thanks for being here.
We're excited.
These sweet ladies came in the morning and we're kind of filming in the evening. So we appreciate the love.
Yeah. Dedication.
The double love for us.
And
I was
dedication.
just so excited.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we're so glad.
We're so
you're
excited that you're here. I wonder what took us almost
This
6 years
long.
to get you here, because I think you guys should be here regularly. You're such a staple in our community and are a wealth of information. So we're excited to
We
hear
are.
from you both today.
We are.
How did you originally get involved?
My mother was a Daughters of Utah Pioneers, as well as probably a whole lot of young people nowadays. It was probably their mother, Fern Davis. Richard Davis has a big part in helping us, but my mother said, "Why don't you join? We need more members."
Right.
So
and
she
how
filled
old were
out-
you at that point?
I was probably 20,
oh, wow. A really young
25,
member.
maybe.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, how long
Okay.
have you been?
Since 2009.
Yeah. So she filled out my papers.
Okay.
And they're online now. It's a lot easier. So you can fill out your name and your history, and you have to put in some of your grandparents and your great grandparents. And you have to follow a line back to before the railroad came to Utah.
I was just reading that. It says you need to be 18 years of age, of good character, and then have a lineal or legal adopted descendant before the railroad.
Right.
May 10th.
So that's even
1869.
people that passed through Utah and stopped here for a pause before they went on to California. If you were born here before then. So it is a descendant of direct pioneer histories. Doesn't mean a religious history or a ethnic group, anyone.
Well, I think we had all determined before we started filming that all of us are eligible.
Yes.
We're hoping we're in good character.
Yes.
That was the question.
Convince us to get involved. Like, what do you ladies do?
We are a historical, educational organization. We collect and keep histories, verbal histories, oral histories that someone's passed down from family, to daughter, or son to son. And we keep these, we file them. We have a whole group here in Spanish Fork of them, but we also send a copy up to Salt Lake, and they have hundreds and hundreds of histories. We personally, in our company, we have a company about 300 women in Spanish Fork, Lakeshore, Salem, Palmyra, Benjamin. So we're a company. We have almost a little bit over 300 women, probably 200 that are active enough to do things. But we have outreach programs. We preserve historic land monuments. We just did, Darla just took charge of one a year ago down in Palmyra for Fort Palmyra, which is where they first settled in this area. And then they, because of not such fertile land, they moved up further here to Spanish Fork.
Really?
So the first settlers were down in Palmyra, and there was a big fort down there, and now it's just a monument.
Okay.
But
Everybody needs to go see it.
yes, and we have many artifacts in our museum. But we also have, every year we have a history book that's written, and it's written by a group of women that change every year. This is the 5th volume of Tales of Triumph. So there's been 4 other books. This is the 5th one. We have a lesson in our camps. We have 14 camps in our company. So each camp has a lesson every month, and they can pick any lesson they're long.
And they take them out of this?
Take them out of the book. So these books literally are histories of different people. Last year they had on Valentine's, and I got to teach the lessons several times, but they had the Cornabys in it. Not always is it people from this area. Sometimes it's people from New Mexico or California or some other area, monuments that they keep. But this book this year is going to be fun. It has some people from this area in it, and it tells about survival in some areas. We also have the cemetery, Spanish Fork Cemetery, and I brought the book that Pat Sager put together, and she tells the history in here of in 2007 is when they started the cemetery.
Okay.
And then it fell. I mean, they had the cemetery there. There were hundreds of people buried there.
Is this a historical one?
The historical
Okay.
one.
By my house.
Started, the farmers were moving in and moving things around, and all of a sudden things were just getting rocks. The headstones were getting thrown into piles, and the Daughters of Utah tried to save it then, and then they got a committee together and decided that it was worth saving. They started looking through the archives in Spanish Fork and found over 100 names of people that are still buried there, some that have been moved to other cemeteries. But she took a couple of years and worked on every single story of the person and where their family was from. And some of them were babies, only lived. It was a hard life. People lived in dugouts when they first came here on the hillside. So the cemetery was up above the hillside where the dugouts houses were. and hard winters, hard
Nothing
flooding.
like now.
Yeah, I mean, we have everything now.
Right.
Plus cell phones that we can call and text. But so she took charge of printing this book out, and it's just fun. There's pictures of the old cemetery and the
Now
new.
this book is in a hardbound
It
version
is.
because I think my mother-in-law gave me this last year for my birthday since I live in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask that
haven't read it.
question. So where can we get access to these or purchase
They're all
these?
down at the museum.
At the museum. Tell us about this museum, because some people watching may be like, there's a museum here in town. Darla, can you tell us a little bit
We
about
have
that?
a really cool museum. We have a lot of artifacts in there that are pioneer. We also have Spanish Fork's first fire hose cart.
Yeah.
It's not pioneer, but it's still cool.
Yeah.
And it was really pioneer because, you know, they started it, it got to come. We have a lot to look at. And we're open Mondays from 10:30 to 4:30 starting September 1st, but we're closed on Labor Day.
Okay.
So come down. The books are really interesting. We have a lot of histories you can buy. We sell baby quilts. That's what supports our museum. So anything like that is really nice.
We have
Is it just Utah memorabilia that's in there, or just Spanish Fork area?
No.
No, it's all
all
over
over.
because when the pioneers came,
They brought
Brigham Young sent them everywhere. And then they came back, and as, I mean, my family is not from here. They're from Emery County, Sanpete County. And so then my mom and dad moved up here. So everything that traveled
came with
came with them.
There's China from Europe, from England and Wales. A lot of the pioneers that came here to Utah came
So
from
just
that area.
anything that's aged
So,
in that kind of category.
There's handmade outfits out of wool. There's quilts that are wool that's scraped and then in the center and then hand stitched. But also
Carded
we
wool.
have
Love that.
a big outreach program. Last year I bet we did over 300 students. We did
Yes.
270 and one.
The whole seventh
one
grade came.
down.
The whole 7th grade.
Oh,
And,
We just
they
brought them
come
in shifts,
through
and
but
they
we-
wore different colored bands for them. We separate them in groups, and I rang a bell, and these ladies got 2 minutes to give their spiel for that area, and they had to move on because we had to have them in and out so we could get the whole 7th
It
grade
is-
through.
I've been through there, and it's really
It's
cool.
fascinating.
And
It's-
it's right
it's
by
cool.
the fire station.
Yes,
just
right
for
next
our
to the
viewers
fire
who
station.
don't know where it is.
On the corner.
Yeah, right
Every
there on
time
Main
I go
Street.
down there, I find ancestors that belong to the Creer family or the Nelson family, and I see a picture and I think, I know that person. They're in my history.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, so my mother, before she passed away, wrote her history.
Yes.
Is that something like that I would give to you ladies?
That's right.
And that you would copy and then send it out?
Or you can send them online now, but yes, we'd keep a copy here
Okay.
in our museum, and we'd send it up to Salt Lake, and they keep them digitally up there now too.
I think
That's
she
really
would
awesome.
actually love that.
That's neat.
Yep, she took a lot of time and effort doing that. And
Last-
such great stories.
Last year during COVID, the whole Daughters of Utah Pioneers International Society, that was their big theme, was for us to write our histories. And I don't know, did your camp do
Yep.
yours? So everybody was supposed to write a history. And people forget that we should be doing that
Oh,
now.
I love that. Yes.
The lessons and connections made.
That's all our time today. So we should invite
we'll
everybody
come back.
to,
Yes,
to
have you come back.
look into their own history and maybe write their own. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Coming up on Studio Chatter, we'll take a look at some shiny and sparkly things. Stay with us to find out more. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. We aren't going to try and hide it. We do love our bling, and our next guest knows her bling. Let's welcome Katie Tuttle, the owner of Inside Her Jewelry Box, to the table.
Hi. Thank you.
This is going to be a fun conversation.
I'm excited. This is going to be really fun.
We
Let's-
do love our bling. So
So-
tell us first a little bit about you and how you two kind of know each other, met.
Well, we don't really know each other like on a personal level, but we do cross paths at the ice arena because my Barrett skates and you skate. But I don't know your story. How long have you been skating?
Okay, so I actually took the BYU class,
Okay.
and I skated a little bit as a kid, but I didn't get into it too much. And then I came back and I took the BYU class, and I was like, I love this. I'm totally gonna keep doing this. So I got Chloe as a coach, one of the coaches there, and then I went back to my old coach too. So I actually have 3 coaches there.
Oh, wow,
So
okay.
I have about 3 to 4 lessons a week, and then I do personal training there as well.
Oh my goodness.
so
At
awesome.
college or was
Wow.
this?
I was 24 when I
my
started.
And now you're competing.
Yeah, like I
So
was
it's
doing
never
my
too
axle
old,
pretty
guys. Not that you're
consistent.
old.
No,
but,
I
right?
haven't.
No, but
I
for
would
a
think
skater,
like nowadays
yeah.
at 3, like unless you're doing it at 3, then you're done.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of programs there, like learn to skate programs and adult programs. But anyway, so the
So
coincidence.
which led it to.
Yes.
That's how we met.
So she was at Fiesta Days at the craft fair. And you know me at the craft fair.
Loading
I'm
up,
like-
yeah.
Well, actually, Barrett saw you first because.
Oh, did she? I don't remember
I think,
that.
Like, I love your jewelry, but the younger girls were all like, "Oh, have you been?"
That's my
over-
demographic, is
Have they-
younger
Okay, so
girls,
like, have you
so.
been to this booth? And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's Katie! Like, we know Katie." So, and what is it that they're drawn to?
So it's super simple, simplistic, and dainty. Yeah, you can see. So I either hand make it, design it, or wholesale buy. So one of my number one shows, I sell in stores as well. And so it's funny to see how different things sell at different places. Like Fiesta Days was like, this is my number one seller, this little beaded guy. And a lot of people can hand make them, but I have a machine that can make them for them so they
Okay.
don't have to waste their time on it. Because this can take like hours. And a lot of times
Yes.
kids will make it and then they'll be like tying it and then it'll all fall. The beads will fall everywhere.
I feel like Barrett has this
So
one.
I'm not even surprised.
Is
if
it
she
a
did.
stretchy one?
Yeah, it's stretchy. So I make it
Oh, I love
stretchy. I even like
stretchy.
make baby bracelets like this too, and those are like one of my number one sellers.
Okay.
So it's funny because this one will do super well at fairs, but it's in the stores they don't do as well for some
Okay.
reason. But like this one, so I designed this one and handmade it. I just love opal, simplistic opal.
Love that.
All of my stuff is around $15 or under, and it just makes it like super affordable, and that's why the
Yes.
younger girls like it because you
Yes.
can go to like stores and they'll be like, oh, I love this, and it's like a $40 ring,
Yes.
and they just can't afford it. So.
Right.
Well, I've seen something like this before. I want to say in like a Park City storefront for like
Right. The
mountains.
hundreds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Right.
yeah, and so the reason why I'm able to make it cheaper is because I do stainless steel instead of like gold and silver, and so even though it's not as like high quality, it still like keeps its color. It shouldn't tarnish. A lot of people wear these things in the shower. I've been trading over to that because in the past they used to tarnish, and I was like, no, I'm gonna design it so they don't have tarnishing
Oh,
problems.
I love
and stuff
you
like
because
that.
I
It's
keep mine
hard.
on and just they stay on.
Yeah, people just jump in the shower with them.
Yep.
You want to be able to go in the water. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to the lake and I have to pull off all my jewelry before you
Right.
jump in, you know? So that's what I've been leaning more towards. It does cost me more to do it, but if I buy it wholesale and design it, then I'm able to do that. This one I did design. This one I wholesale bought, and I bought it in bulk, so I got it for a really good deal. But the reason why I also did this one is because it's super sentimental. People from Utah love the mountains,
yes.
and
Yep.
they send them to their friends who
And
have
Peaks
moved
Arena,
away. Yes,
right?
Peaks
Of
Arena.
course.
So yeah.
So
that's
what
why.
made you pick jewelry to help with this passion of like
Okay.
skating?
So this is funny. So when I was a kid, I actually loved making jewelry. Like I even started a little thing in my school, like a black market, with selling stuff because I wanted a horse. I'm allergic to horses now, but anyway, the principal had
Entrepreneur.
I started at a very young age. So even the principal had to get involved and shut down the little black market I started. So that was really funny.
I love it.
So yeah. So it just started out. I was just buying jewelry. I was like, there was a fair up in Alpine where I'm from, and they had an event, and I was like, you know what? I have like a lot of jewelry because I have a jewelry problem buying jewelry. So I was like, maybe I'll just sell some of the stuff there. It went really well, and so then I started doing big events like this, and it just started growing really well. And I was at school when I started skating, and since I started selling in stores and doing big shows in the summer, it's just made it so I've had free time. It's like passive income, you know. So
Yes.
I'm able to go to the rink whenever I want to in the mornings and take lessons whenever I have a very flexible schedule. So that's when it's been so nice. So I can have both of my passions, and have the time to do both of them. So. Yeah.
One thing you mentioned to me when we were discussing this earlier, you said, yeah, I'm able to place all of my jewelry in a bunch of stores and I just collect checks.
Yeah.
At the end of the
So-
night. I'm like, ooh, maybe I should.
I mean, you really should. There's a store called The Quilted Bear that I'm in.
Yeah,
Have you heard of
okay.
that? So that's actually how I've been able to make like passive income, because like fairs are great, but it's a lot harder to
A lot
do.
of time,
It's
I
a
would
lot of
imagine.
time. Like I'll spend like 12 to 14 hours at a show. And
Because you're sitting there all
Yeah,
day.
it's so hard.
What are the Quilted Bear fair.
Yeah,
You're
you just go.
restocking.
Exactly. I just go restock and I go pick up a check and I love them. They also have a break-off little store that's with them. It's called Locals. They have one in Orem. It's really in the University Mall and it's been great. I just love them. So I think I'm in 7 stores. I actually just went national a couple weeks ago. So I went to another store in Georgia and I have a little lady setting up stuff there. So it's been really fun to see it grow, and just Christmas time does phenomenal. But I love doing the markets, the fairs. So like Fiesta Days, #1 show hands down, and I do so many shows during the summer.
That just makes our hearts so happy.
Yeah, no, I will always do this show. Like 2 years ago, there was this big rainstorm that came in.
Yes.
And like we had to leave that day. Still #1 show, even with that day not happening. Like this show is phenomenal.
The people come out.
impressive.
It really is a great
They really
time.
do, and they're great. And like I've had a lot of theft in a lot of places. They don't steal here, so I don't have to worry about it. So thank you, Spanish Fork.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So
cool.
are you interested in continuing to grow, or do you feel like you're in a sweet spot for now?
Oh,
and-
I'm so ready to grow more. I mean, where I'm at right now, I'm very comfortable financially, but I mean, who wants
Who
to stop,
doesn't want more money?
I mean, I would like, I always want money. I would like more money for sure. So especially with the housing market. Anyway, yeah, so I'm definitely, I definitely want to grow. So there's another store that I'm in, and they have a bunch of places that I'm going to go into.
So, okay, remind our viewers what the name of your business is, and if they want
Yes.
to buy something online.
So it's called Inside Her Jewelry Box.
Inside Her Jewelry Box.
Yeah, it's on the bottom of here. Inside Her Jewelry Box. That's my little logo.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram. It's really fun. Just super simplistic, dainty. $15 or less. Majority goes around 10. All my rings are 7 to 10. Yeah, so these ones, I love these rings.
Love
This
that
is-
price point.
Yeah.
Because girls can pick up a couple of
That's-
things
yeah.
under $20 and just feel like a princess.
That's
I
kind
love
of
that.
that's why I've done it. So yeah, just so I can
Really amazing.
make it so people can afford
and
it.
so you're home shipping things out as well, right?
Yes, yeah. So I'm shipping things out as well.
Making and shipping and marketing.
Yes.
So you also talked about kind of your season. So obviously summer's super busy
Yes,
for you. So
yes.
that's maybe slowing down.
Yeah, thankfully, actually, September, I didn't realize how many shows I'm in this September. I looked at my schedule last week and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a busy September. I do Simple Treasures. Have you heard of that one? It's in Farmington.
No.
I'm doing some shows, Holy Cow, I'm guessing you've heard
Yes.
of that.
Yes.
So I'm doing that one too. Love that show, amazing. So I'm doing those, and then I do the Provost Farmers Market on the
Okay.
weekends.
That's every Saturday.
It is such a good show. For how short it is, they have done such a good job with that show. I suggest you
it's
go and
huge.
see it.
You know,
It's
there's a
huge.
farmer's market
it
here
is
too,
huge.
right?
I've heard about that. What day is it on? I want to go
I
there.
don't know that they.
It's just food.
I was
It
just
has
going to
to
say,
be
I think it's
homegrown.
exclusive.
That's
yeah.
why, because
Okay.
I hand make a lot of my stuff, and that's why they let me into the farmers market, because they're very particular about that. But
Yes.
man, it's a great show.
I have
So,
heard that from several
yeah,
people. I need to
yeah.
remember to
They
go
do a good
check it
job.
out.
What about Midway or Heber
Oh, Swiss
or the
State.
State
Those
Fair?
are pretty far for me.
Okay.
And the state fair is just very long. So
Right.
I haven't done those ones. Yeah,
Okay.
but Provost Farmers Market, just days, the fairs that are everywhere. I do them. I did Raspberry Days. That
Okay.
one's up in Bear Lake, and that's fun. It's a long drive.
There's a
But
Christmas show here as well.
I've heard of that, and I
Just
want to
throw
do that
that in
one.
there.
Okay, we'll have to get more information about that one, because
Yeah,
I do
you're
really wanna
busy.
do that.
Yes.
I'm so busy. I just keep
Yeah.
hearing about new things, and I'm like, okay, do I have the time? I'd rather be skating right now.
I'm
But,
so
yeah.
excited for you to grow your business.
Thank you.
And are you solely doing everything alone, or do you have some help?
So I do hire some girls. It was funny. Well, actually, some of the skaters that
Okay.
I'm with,
Okay,
I
perfect.
hire them to make jewelry, and I'll pay them per bracelet or whatever
Yeah.
they make. So this one takes a really long time to make, the little flat beaded guy. It's a Tila bracelet, and so these ones take a while. So I'll hire people to come and help me with that. But other than that, I do have a cousin that she'll come and help me tag
Good.
product too. But it's not too hard. I'll go wake up in the morning, I'll go skating, I'll go work out, and then at home I'll come and watch a movie with family or friends and just tag product. And so I'm really into Survivor, so I've been watching a lot of Survivor.
Awesome.
So it's pretty easy. And then once a month.
Best of luck to you.
Yes, love it.
Yes,
love
thank
all of it.
you.
So happy to know you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm glad to know you
Fantastic.
too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Coming up next, an update on health in our county. Stay with us on Studio Chatter. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. After several rough years of public health, where do we stand? Let's welcome Bonnie Hargraves from the Utah County Health Department to the conversation. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, friends. So professional. We know her as friends too, but this is in a professional
Don't you feel like
capacity.
we need to give our resume?
Yeah, we
Bonnie
do.
and I go way back. We have the same niece. We're in book club. We're in the same neighborhood. Angie?
No, I'm lucky to work with her in the primary, state primary. We're
Yeah.
besties. She's coming to my home in a couple days for a meeting.
That's always
There we
fun.
go.
So
always fun.
Natasha,
So
how
I
do you know
should leave?
Bonnie? No, we're
I know
like,
her now, and now you're super
now we're like,
Yes.
she's a
let's
dear.
introduce Natasha to Bonnie. So
Hi.
Bonnie,
Hi.
I know you work at the county health department, but what in the heck do you really do there? Because
Let me tell
you're just a friend. I don't know what you do in your professional
I
life.
know. So a big part of what I do is actually opioid education.
so important.
Yes, just with, opioid use has increased over the years, and it's, a lot of people have become addicted, and so we do a lot of education just to help people know and understand the risks of using opioids, and that's a big part of my job.
And what does that look like? How are you educating it? Are you like getting it out on like online? Or are you actually doing classes? What does that look like?
Yeah, we do all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm coming here to talk to you ladies tonight about this, but we do education, and we also do billboards and social media, all kinds of. We try to reach our audience in all different kinds of ways.
Okay.
So I see the billboards all the time.
Yep.
And it's naloxone, right? What does it actually do? What does it mean? And educate
And why
us.
that specific? Too?
Yeah, so naloxone is a overdose reversal. It's a miracle drug, really, a medication that you can use if someone's experiencing an overdose. You can administer naloxone, and it can help save their lives. What happens when someone takes opioids, if they're overdosing, it shuts down their respiratory system, and so they can't breathe, and they lose consciousness, and that's when you would want to administer naloxone.
Is it a shot form?
There are different types. There's Narcan, which is a nasal spray. It's super easy to use, and then there's also an injectable one that you put in the shoulder or the thigh. So anyone can learn how to use it. Anybody can learn how to administer naloxone, and it's just really important in order to help save someone from.
I think it's crazy that we're talking about that, like stopping from the death or whatever, that's what we're coming to. But I guess the pre-education part is the important part too, but then
Definitely,
helping
to know
someone
that
that
it's
they're in
there.
a place.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, our police officers all carry them, and every year the mayor and council, they meet with the police officers, and we do like a year-end who saves lives, what their role was, what they've accomplished this last year, and every year they've saved several lives with this drug that just reverses all of those. Oh, it's scary.
That's the thing about opioids is an overdose can happen to anyone. You might think like, oh, I don't have anybody in my life that is a drug addict or addicted, but a lot of it could be your grandma who accidentally takes 2 doses instead of 1 dose, or your son who gets into the medicine cabinet or whatever. I mean, it could be anyone that has access to opioids is at risk for overdose, and that's why it's so important to have naloxone on hand and know how to use it, just because you never know.
Should everyone have it on hand?
Well, especially high-risk people should have it. So if you are, if you were recently incarcerated and you're getting out of jail and you were a user before, you should definitely have naloxone. If you
Just
have
relapse or something?
Yes,
Okay.
for relapse, if you're at risk for relapse. If you have an opioid prescription, a doctor can prescribe opioids. And if you're using opioids, a lot of times it's for a temporary situation, like I've had surgery or I've given birth to a child or, an injury or whatever, and then you're using opioids. So in that case, it would be a good idea to have it on hand just in case. I mean, because you just don't know.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like common to prescribe that at the same time you are maybe getting opioids for those reasons. So
Because it's like, I need this in case we overdose.
Yeah.
Like kind of an
I mean,
odd,
it doesn't seem like you
ask
should,
for.
but maybe.
Right.
Well,
I mean-
it's definitely something you could ask your doctor about. And that's one thing that we try to promote as well, is to be in charge of your own health. Meaning, ask those questions. When your doctor prescribes you an opioid, ask, am I prone to addiction? Is this something that I'm going to be on long term? Is there something else that you might prescribe for me that, maybe you could get Tylenol or ibuprofen, something that's not as addictive as an opioid. And so it's really important to take charge of your own health and
Because
ask
Bonnie,
those questions.
what are the statistics of becoming addicted? Like in how many days?
It can be in as few as 5 days
Okay.
if you're following it as prescribed, which is just kind of crazy to think about.
It's like someone gets a knee injury in football, or someone like gets their surgery.
Yeah.
And then
It's so
all of a
scary
sudden
that
they
it
didn't
can
know
be
that they
that,
were an
yeah.
addict, or that would
Right.
become a thing.
And so it is kind of scary, and that's why we also recommend, let's say you get a 7-day prescription from your doctor and you only use 2 or 3 days. It's really important to get rid of that other medication that you don't want to leave it laying around. So like the Dispose RX is a great way to get rid of it. You can mix this, you put this in your pill bottle, and then you fill it up with warm water, shake it up. It's environmentally friendly, and you can just throw it away and get rid of it. Also,
know that
yeah.
existed,
I didn't
right?
either.
Did I?
Also, there are lots of Dropbox locations where you can just take your pills and drop them off. In Spanish Fork, there's one at the police department, at the sheriff's office, and then both Walmart locations have Dropbox locations where you can just go, you just drop the whole pill bottle in there, no
So
questions
tell
asked.
us why we don't want to throw them in the garbage or flush them down the toilet.
Yeah.
Why we need to get rid of them in general.
Yeah, it's just bad for the water system. And if you just throw them away, someone might have access to them. I mean, you could also like mix it with kitty litter or whatever, make it so it's unusable before you throw it away. You just don't want anybody else to get access to those. And that's why you should get rid of them, is because most friends and family get their opioids from their neighbors or
Friends and
yes,
family.
Exactly. So a prescription is something you don't want to share. You just use what you need and then get rid
It's
of
like
it.
you're a drug dealer if you have them laying around.
My word. Well,
You don't wanna have
I
them laying
watched
around.
Dope Sick. So,
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm like petrified now. I mean, I know that they can be used in the proper way.
Right.
But then I look at the pain scale now and I'm like, eek. You
Yeah.
know, and why it is so important to get rid of them.
And one thing I wanted to tell you, which is this is super cool about Spanish Fork, is you can go to the library and get a free naloxone kit, which is so awesome. Scott Aylett,
the library director.
yes, he worked with Utah Naloxone to get these kits in our library. So the librarian will give you some education on how to use it, but they'll give it to you for free.
No questions asked. Just
Yeah.
go in and say, I
think that that's a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can also get it from your pharmacy. If you have insurance, you can, pay your copay, which is $20 or $25, or you can buy it outright. But for those people that maybe can't afford it, you can go to the library and get it, which is so awesome. And Spanish Fork is one of only 4 libraries in Utah County. They were like one of the first ones, which is super cool.
And do you have to be a resident? Probably not.
Yeah, I think they'll just, anyone that comes in,
Yeah.
they'll
That
give
is
it to,
very
which
cool.
is really
That
cool.
is really
Who
cool.
knew?
So just give it.
Wow.
Do you have to purchase it?
You don't have to purchase it. It's
Okay.
free.
Wow.
It's free.
That's really amazing.
Yeah. And then the one other thing I want to just let you ladies know is that really one thing that really protects against addiction is building strong relationships with family and with friends and with community. So anything that you can do to build and grow those relationships is super helpful. It's like protective against addiction. So, I say go home and eat dinner with your family tonight, talk to your kids, like hug them, all of those things. I mean, it sounds normal, but it really does help prevent lots of health things, but especially addiction. If people have strong connections and even community relationships, which I think we're pretty good at here in Spanish Fork, like a lot of people have strong ties to the community. And so, if you can foster those relationships, it's really, really
Gives
helpful.
them like a background to
Yeah.
fall back on if they're feeling depressed or anxious, and you know what that person is like, and so you have people watching over you. Like, they don't seem right. Something's up. Let's check in.
A good, strong support
Yep,
system is
totally.
really important.
This was awesome, Bonnie.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me
Yeah.
come.
It's
Thank
fun
you. I
having
learned
smart
something
friends.
New, 2 things.
Well, yeah, get your naloxone and get rid of your pills.
Now I know what it is, what that billboard is all about. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much. Coming up next on Studio Chatter, we'll talk about preparing for hospice care. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. There is a lot of misinformation about what choices people have in the end stage of life.
And to help us break down the myths, let's welcome Melissa Dexter and Chantel Rhodes from Maple Cream Home Health and Hospice to the table. That's kind of a mouthful, isn't it?
It kind of is.
Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So introduce yourselves a little bit and how you became connected with the business.
I am Melissa. I'm the administrator, and I'm actually connected. My mom opened Maple Creek, so she did.
okay.
So I've been working for her. She's retired now, but now I'm running it.
How many years have you been there?
10 years, and it's been there for 11.
11. So almost from the beginning you've been
Yes,
there with
pretty
it.
much. Yep, pretty
Oh,
much.
how neat.
Yep.
And then
And I'm Chantel, and I'm relatively new to Maple Creek, but I've grown up with extra grandparents all over the neighborhoods. It was kind of my mom's thing. So I remember like one of my earliest memories is taking out the trash for one of our elderly neighbors. I don't even think it was garbage day, but little kids don't know that.
Yes.
So yeah, we just always had lots of extra grandparents, and they would pass, and it was just a routine. It was kind of normal for us, and so I didn't realize that it's not something everybody deals with
Right.
on a regular basis.
Well, I think you
So-
two must be pretty special because that's a very difficult time in life for that person going through it, but also for all of the family, right?
It is, but it's an honor to be able to
Right.
go in there and help them come in, make a difference, make
So
sure they know what to
explain-
expect.
Explain a little bit to us. When my mother passed, we had a lot of people saying, reach out to hospice, you need to get her on hospice. All of us were really hesitant because we thought, oh, we're determining her life end. Like they'll put her on meds and she'll be gone. That is a myth, we found out.
Yes.
And our hospice people were our angels here on earth. So explain the process
So
or what their options are.
So hospice is really for if you decide that you no longer want to seek curative treatment and you have a terminal illness, a disease, and sometimes with aging you just start declining, things just start changing. There is not necessarily a
You don't have to have a specific
Yes,
diagnosis.
yes.
It can just be elderly decline.
Yeah.
You're just
Right.
starting to lose kind of things.
It's
Or
not
like a
like
time
you have 3
frame,
weeks
like,
left.
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
Right.
You're just
Yes.
declining, you're not feeling your tip-top self, and so...
Yeah. You're noticing those
But you're
big
knowing
changes
that you're
happening.
Yeah, if
Okay.
mom is falling a lot, you're going to the hospital more,
Okay.
UTIs, things like that.
That's good to
Probably
know.
a good time to call just to see, because we can come in, we can keep you from going to the ER. Those visits get really difficult,
Okay.
as time goes on. And we can come in and do an assessment and
Okay.
just see. There doesn't have to be a certain disease
Right.
to qualify.
And there's no commitment. If you have someone come out to just evaluate the situation,
Right.
it's not, okay, we're giving mom a death sentence now. Like, it's nothing like that. It's
Okay.
just a, hey, let's check in and see what your goals are, what your priorities are, and
what care could possibly look
Exactly.
like at what level, right?
right, exactly what your options are, because I think people often aren't aware of all the options. When you're seeking curative care, they pretty much present all the curative options, and often hospice gets overlooked. But I mean, let's say you're 80 and you get diagnosed with stage 4 cancer or something that is going to take really aggressive treatment. I mean, sometimes the treatment is really worse than the disease at that
Right.
point.
I know
And
with my mother when we were in the hospital when they had found her cancer and it was everywhere, and they kind of told us that she had maybe months. So we decided we'll take her home. We can do this. We've got this on our own. She didn't want to fight it at that point. She knew it was going to be terminal, but we just thought we've got this as family. We can do this. We got to that point where we're like, we're out of our league. Like, how do we best care for mom and keep her out of pain, but bless like the end of her life? And that is where hospice came in for us. Just clutch. Just reassuring us and guiding us. And you're going to be looking for this. Next week or in the next coming weeks, you're going to be seeing this.
Education is a
Yes.
huge, huge part of it to
Yeah.
support the caregivers, the whole family. And it's not just during that decline period, but even a year afterwards, that bereavement period also, we're still there to support the family.
Okay. So I've never, I had a short little stint with a hospice worker for like a week, but what if someone just comes in, are they there all day? Are they there just for an hour? Like, what does it look like?
About an hour. So
Okay.
usually your nurses come in for about an hour, and then the aides will come in and help with bathing.
Okay.
You know, the getting dressed, things like that.
Okay, but
then-
someone else there, a family member or neighbor, friend, has to be there to help maybe administer.
Not necessarily. Some people don't have family members or caregivers.
Okay.
So it looks like whatever it looks like for you. We meet people
Wow.
where they are.
Very
And assess,
customized.
exactly. We kind of assess the situation as it is to see what the need is. If you maybe don't have caregivers or family close by, or you're not close to your neighbors, we look at that, and we have social work, you know, that kind of
Okay.
marshals the community resources that are available to see what might be a good fit, from transportation to the actual medical.
Where again,
kind of
that's
care.
where the education is coming in, where you're
Exactly.
letting this person know there's all this list of help that you have access to.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they'll help pick your funeral planning. So your funeral homes,
Okay.
make sure that you're prepared. You get your
Okay.
advanced directives. You know, go over the DNR, whether they want to be resuscitated or
I
not
do
as
remember
well.
that.
So
the paperwork and the things that you are
Yeah,
not
that you
really
don't think
thinking
about.
or that you don't want to.
Yes.
But then at that moment, you want that to be already
Yeah,
taken
you
care
want
of
it
and
done.
planned. Which, yeah, we appreciate that too. And I remember with our hospice nurse, when my mom, it was within a few days, and he had kind of told us, and we thought she was passing. We really thought that it was happening that night. We called him. He came up and drove like miles and miles to be with us, to help us. She ended up not passing, and he was the kindest soul. He just was there with us, like on and off for 3 days. Just a blessed person. So what you guys do is just, it's truly angels on earth.
Super special.
Yep.
So what does your staff look like? I mean, we've mentioned nurses, we've talked maybe social, some like what's it made up of? What kind of folks do you have helping you out?
So we have the nurses, the aides, like you mentioned, chaplains, which are there for spiritual support.
Okay.
Our social workers. We have a dietitian on staff. You know, if you have any nutrition questions, concerns about what they're eating, whether they're eating enough, we have a medical director as well. So that's our team, and volunteers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, volunteers can fill in all kinds of gaps from, you know, you want a special manicure to, you know, do you need some yard work done to any of those kind of non-clinical. I mean, they can even do clinical if they're qualified, but, you know, a lot of that volunteer stuff is companionship, helping put together, you know, your personal documents, or just a variety of things. It could be anything.
I remember Paul Christensen was such a big volunteer after you guys
Yes,
were
he
right
was.
by his side with the passing of his wife. He was such a big advocate for Maple Creek.
He was amazing.
And I mean, what a sweet, sweet, kind soul.
He was. If I could be half the person
I know,
Paul
I
was,
agree.
oh my word.
I agree. That man was just amazing.
Yes, he was, and we miss him terribly.
Yeah.
So
He was one of the
he
great
did
ones.
so much for us. We were so fortunate.
So if people are looking for volunteer opportunities to help in that way, is it posted somewhere or online? Could they?
They can
Fill
come. They
out.
can just contact us.
Okay.
It's a lot like the hiring process,
Okay.
because we do have to make sure that there's background
Sure,
checks. I mean, especially if they're going to be in people's homes.
Right.
But they can even do office work. You know, they can help out if hands-on people care is not their thing, but they do want to be a part of it.
Okay.
They can help even with projects to assemble little bereavement packages, or I mean, you know, it's really just limited by imagination.
Okay.
And yard work.
Yeah.
Paul was so good at that.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
we need the
Taking
help.
care of your yard work
Yes.
or
the offices.
All
He
right,
did
all
trim
right.
some
The
bushes for me a few times.
Yes, but we do have patients who can't do
But
their
yeah.
own, you
I
know,
bet.
and
That's
that's
why I thought
a
I'd never
significant thing.
clarified. Right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thanks for being such a great staple for the last 10 plus years here in Spanish Fork.
Thank you.
You guys are
It's
a
brilliant
great
you do.
asset.
Yep.
Gosh, and
We love
educating
this
us,
community.
That's always
Yes.
so important. Thanks so much. There's more studio chatter coming up. Welcome back. We certainly talked about a wide variety of topics today. What did we learn?
We sure did.
A lot, right?
We didn't have a theme
we
going.
circled. No,
Yeah.
we did not.
We kind of had fun things and then a little
Serious.
Serious, yes.
And then educational, and then like some nostalgia. Yeah, Utah Pioneers, guys. We all should become a member. We're all of good character.
We really should. I feel like my grandma would be so
I think my
disappointed.
mom would
in
love it
me
if I were to do
yeah,
that.
I feel like I need to do that. Like it's part of my heritage. Like she spent so much time doing her genealogy. I think they made bonnets and like sold that every year for Pioneer Day.
My mother-in-law, Lynn Beck, has loved her little camp. They've just been going strong for.
I love that they call it a camp.
A camp,
I think
yeah.
that's
I do,
so
it's
cute.
so
When
cute.
she said that at first, I'm like, are they going camping and
Yeah,
just
they have their little
chatting?
camps.
Well,
No.
remember when they'd circle the wagons and
Yes.
go in their camp? Like
Yeah.
that just immediately resonates.
Well, it would
Oh,
sure
that was
remind you
cute.
to look into your ancestors and their records and
Their
like,
stories. Like, I
a lot
pulled out my
more.
mom's history again, like the other day, and I was like, just the information and the connections, and like they went through stuff. Like I can get through hard stuff too, and just like the great people that they were. I think that that's important.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Bonnie was saying, circling around, making sure you're connecting to like their past and
Well, it's
their
great
family.
to leave a record. I
Yes.
love that your mom did that, and I
Right.
think I could do better probably writing some things down. I mean, everything is so electronic now.
Which that is
Which
a
is
record,
fine.
though.
It is a record.
I mean, it's nice, but it is nice to see it handwritten sometimes
Yes.
too.
It is.
Or to see how
Typed
that's,
out the story
yeah, how they've
all
been
together.
passed down. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Margaret and Darla, for joining
Yeah,
us. That was
really
fun.
good.
And remember, everyone can just stop by. I think they said Mondays they're
Yeah.
open. So
Yep.
stop by and visit the museum and take a tour.
We should.
What
And
about
become
Katie
members.
and her fun jewelry?
That was fun, Natasha.
Fun.
Thanks for bringing her in.
Yes,
Doesn't she just have energy?
she does. That
I
is what's
love-
driving that little business.
Yes, I love that young entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
When somebody finds something and it's their niche
Just
and they
easy and just
go
go.
with it.
Yeah, because it's still work, but she makes
passive
it.
income. Like it was
Yeah.
just so passive and easy.
But yeah, she's still working.
Yes, she's working.
But it's
But to
enjoyable.
her, it's enjoyable.
Which I think we all need to do something we enjoy.
Right?
we do.
So
Yep.
you'll never work a day in your life
Yeah.
if you love it.
One day when we have time, we need to talk to you about your job.
Okay.
Because we have never even talked. So one day.
Okay.
One day,
need to-
and
we
then
need to touch
Bonnie, who's our dear friend, and now Natasha. You can call her
I
a friend.
I love her, and she had a wealth of education.
Yeah.
We need to have her
she
back.
she needs to
That
come
was
back.
one little niche that she knows
Yes.
about. She knows a lot
And now I've been
of things.
educated on naloxone. And
Yes.
now I know what that is. I thought that it was like the opioid.
Opioid.
I thought that that was a drug. This is like the counterbalance
Yes.
to the drug. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So
It
I
sounds
learned
like we
something.
have access to if ever we needed.
Which I hope we don't. But it's
Right.
sure nice to know
But
that
maybe
it's
we
there.
should all have
I
it.
agree.
And I think we all go through stages of life where probably someone we know.
Right. Or if
Maybe
you've had
could
a
have
surgery
that.
and have that in your home and you just never know. Like, what if a
Yeah.
kid accidentally took it? Or
Yeah.
you never know.
That's good. That's good.
Couldn't always
true.
be intentional, right?
And Maple Creek Hospice. I love that they've been here 11 years now in Spanish Fork. I'm
And
thinking they
that's
just opened up.
Such a service that they provide.
It really is,
Yeah.
guys. Like I was talking about with my mom, I had no idea really what it was. I
Mm-hmm.
really thought it was like they came in and administered drugs to help them be comfortable. And it was so much more,
So
just
much
like
more.
they talked about, just an education of everything leading up to that point.
Well, and not everyone comes out of hospice. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there is some long-term care that can be provided sometimes that's attached to hospice,
Yes.
and it could reverse on occasion.
Yeah, that's
Right.
a good point.
Yeah,
So-
that is.
It does take someone special
Oh, for
to
sure.
be in that field and the
It
funeral
does to love them. and
business and just when people are going through such traumatic and
hard
life-altering
things.
events.
And like for us, it was the first time of someone super close like that going through that. We had no idea. We hadn't gone down that road
Yeah.
before, so
And
it was
I-
good information.
I like that you also said that your hospice provider prepped you, like, okay, next week, this is what you can kind of look for. Mm-hmm. Because you had no idea.
We had no idea. And then when he said that, like this death rattle, these different things, it's like when we got that, we're like, this is what he was talking about. Like we were prepared for it.
Yes.
We weren't as scared going into some things.
Oh, we had a good show.
Yeah, it was
we
a really
we had
good
a good
show.
show. So
Very heartwarming.
We're going right into the fall now.
Yay.
Fall is in the air.
Yeah, I love the fall.
The sunflowers are in full bloom everywhere we go.
Our birds have left the nest.
Yes, the temperatures are cooling down at night. Do you
Yeah.
guys sleep with your windows open?
Not
I haven't yet.
Not yet.
You guys, every night that brings me so much joy. Listen to how
Okay.
silly this is.
Okay.
At 10 or 11, I always look at my app on my phone.
Okay.
Like, Chris, it's 74, open all the windows, and I think I'm saving us a small fortune because now the AC doesn't have to run for approximately 12 hours.
And at 10:35, Stacy's asleep.
Well, unless the temperature hasn't dropped, because then I have to wait till 11.
Oh my word! Now,
Yeah,
now everybody knows.
Stacy is saving their income. Their retirement is because
I know.
of that.
I just run through the house, and my husband's just like, "Oh dear." I'm like, "Honey, I'm saving us a fortune."
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try your method.
But it's so nice to wake up in the morning and the temperature's
The chill
is like
in the
down to
air.
68, 69 in the house, and you're like,
Brett would love that. He would.
this-
The money
all right.
savings app.
All right. Until next time, right?
Yep.
Thanks for being here with us. We hope you enjoyed the program. If you learned something new today, please tell a friend about us.